What up, boys? I'm back after 1 week off for the Farmers Insurance Open. I think that's what this tournament is called.
Yep.
I'm here with Snyder and Erdenschlong. Snyder, how we doing?
Doing all right. It was a pretty good week. Didn't play Scotty in DFS, but bet him after round 2 was over at plus 200. I think it's almost better to bet Scotty mid-round because his odds really don't drop off that much, and you get 2 rounds of information before you're given like the plus 320 or whatever. You still get like plus 200 after the second round. So it was all right from that standpoint. Top 40s were good, but I want to get you. I never talked to you last week, Mark, about it. What did you think of Scotty's pricing? I know me and Bryce had talked about if you were going to play Scotty last week, you had to like really open up that bottom of the pool. And then we saw the 6,200 and the 6,300 guy paired up with him. What was your thoughts on his price? I hope they keep pricing him like that going forward for every event to at least make you make a decision on it.
I think it's a little different last week than it is most weeks just because of the three round cut.
Yeah.
I think you get a little more leeway at the base when you get 3 rounds, just like in a no cut situation. So I would have been more apt to use him than normal at that price, but it was still a heavy decision. You still have to have your guys at the bottom do well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just super hard to hit like the combo with Scotty. Like I was surprised that. I mean, cheap golfers did well. It's a weird kind of shitty tournament. MX is one of my least favorite tournaments of the year. So I much prefer like a Torrey Pines type of challenge, where you kind of locked down on finishing position as opposed to like DraftKings scoring. I actually had some decent Scotty teams, and I only played like 20% of them. I basically thought he had to win to be optimal. So I think it was like 22.5% were his win odds. Adjusted for VIG, so that's pretty much where I played it. Yeah, I mean, Scotty's going to be a tough decision all year because I think he's going to stay at the price where, if he doesn't win, he won't be in the winner. I don't think there will be many weeks when I think it's possible at that price for him not to be optimal and win. But yeah, it would just require like the expensive golfers doing well, and enough cheap guys did well last week.
But before we dig in, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts. Obviously, there was a lot of big golf news today, and I'll go ahead and start. Patrick Reed coming back from LIV and them saying he's not going to come back until August. That's one thing. I obviously think it's a mistake. They're not letting him come back immediately. But after what they did with Brooks, they kind of had to, because Brooks paid such a hefty penalty to come back early. But the bigger news to me was that Hudson Swafford and Kevin Na left LIV, and then they're going to let Hudson Swafford back on next year. And Kevin Na, they haven't decided yet, which means they're kind of just – the penalties don't really seem that harsh on the mid-grade guys because it's not like Hudson Swafford and Kevin Na were getting player equity anyway, most likely. And I think it's also indicative of the guys that left initially for LIV, like the first wave. It was like DJ, Swafford, Kevin Na, a Kokrak. There was like a group of like 10 or 20, and their contracts are and Reed. Their contracts are coming up right now, and I think it's clear that LIV is now lowballing them. So those first offers were huge, but now I think they're lowballing them. I don't think it's because they don't have money. I think it's because they realize they don't move the needle, and they needed to move the needle right off the back. Snyder, I'll start with you. What do you think about these kind of lower end guys kind of defecting from LIV, and what does that mean for the PGA?
Yeah, I think it's good for the PGA going forward. I was kind of with you. It seemed kind of wishy-washy on what they were going to do to certain players to let them back on the tour. This guy gets let on right away. This guy has to wait. This guy has to wait even longer. And the penalties, like you said, Brooks paid quite a massive penalty to come back to to the tour. I'm grateful that he's back this soon and such. So looking forward to him play the next couple of weeks. But I think you're going to see more of this going forward. I thought it was just going to be like a quick money grab for a lot of these guys. Just go over, get your big money. Like for Brooks' case, I don't think Brooks really liked playing that much to begin with, and now they're forcing him to fly all the way around the world to play here and there. So he's got that kid now, so I can see him coming back. And I think the big one, if they can get Bryson to come back, I think that would be the biggest one. Rahm's another big one, but Bryson has such a huge move with his YouTube and all that, the fandom that he has created over the last couple of years. So hopefully he can come back as well, and we can get everything back to normal kind of. I just want to see the best golfers play against each other.
Well, one thing I'll say about Bryson, and this applies to Brooks and Rahm also, is that they were not, and Cameron Smith, they were not in the first wave that went over there, which is why I think it's partially why the circumstances, or the what's the word I'm looking for, like the parameters that the PGA put in place that only applied to those 4 guys, and they all did not leave immediately when Liv announced. Because I think they knew that all these guys that were coming out of contract, you don't want to punish the guys that are, they get out of contract and then they want to come back. You don't want to punish those guys. You want to punish, or you want to make somebody pay a price if they want to come back before the end of the deal. So I kind of understand it from that point. But you can see a drastic shift in Liv's strategy since that first wave. Recently, they've been picking up, like they've gotten several of the recent PGA NCAA champions, guys that have never played on the PGA Tour. Caleb Surratt comes to mind. They just signed whoever the guy that won last year was. Yeah. I'm blanking on who it was. Lopez Shakira. There's a lot of people that never played on the PGA, and now and they go to Liv, and then so if they leave Liv, they don't have to pay the penalty to come back on PGA because they were never there in the first place. But they would have to qualify again. But it does seem indicative of Liv's strategy that you're getting players that are like in a vacuum. The guy that just won the NCAA title and Patrick Reed are probably similar golfers at this stage. And so it's like you can get the cheaper talent, you can get the as good a talent for cheaper and the next stars. So Liv has kind of been picking off those people. Bryce, do you think that has any effect on the PGA moving forward as far as creating younger stars?
I think it'll be interesting to see a couple of years down the line, like if these college guys end up being like the stone nuts, like obvious next like big thing in golf, if they would stay with Liv, when their initial like contract is up, or if they come back to the PGA. Because like I think it's kind of hard to build a brand for yourself on Liv, just with like the amount of viewership. Like I will say,
Bryson's been able to do it.
Well, but Bryson had a brand built before he went to Liv. I think it's harder to build one from scratch starting with Liv. So I think that's something to consider. I think it's also going to be harder to make a name for yourself just because it's harder to play in the big tournaments, when you're not getting ranking points. I mean, eventually I think Liv will get ranking points and become like a legitimate, like probably, third type of tour. There's plenty of room for golf around the world, and the viewership numbers suck, but I mean, when Liv was here in Indy, everyone went to the tournament. So I'm not sure if that's the case everywhere, but yeah, I don't mind seeing Liv succeed. I do like to see all the best players competing, especially in majors. I would like to see, like, I don't know. I know the PGA doesn't want to make it accessible to Liv players because, part of the deal coming back, like, Bryson wants to play in majors, Reed wants to play in majors every single year. That's like all they care about in golf. So I'm glad Brooks is back. I would love to see Bryson back on tour. I've always been a Bryson guy, but yeah, it's like, I think this is a pretty good comment. Yeah.
I tweeted about this earlier. Patrick Reed's world ranking went up since he's been in Liv.
When you
He's
don't
the
play
only
many
one, but
tournaments
it
and
did.
when you finish high at the Masters and you don't play many of the
Well, he also has won on the European Tour several times.
yeah. I mean, these guys can play more golf than live too if they want. Like it is. I mean, it's like anything in life. It's what you make of it. So, yeah. I mean, I could see sort of a merger with not like a merger, but like a kind of conjoined season with like the DP World Tour at some point. I think that's kind of what would make the most sense to me and be like the strongest alternate to like a PGA Tour. That way, like they would get rankings points. You know, they could play as many or as few events as they want. I think it's a good strategy to go after these younger players. You know, because you got your initial like guys that give you credibility. Like you automatically have credibility. Like if Bryson DeChambeau and John Rahm and Brooks Koepka are playing in your golf tournament, right? So like they're going to pay, as you said, absurd amounts of money. And you see it in soccer. I know you and I were discussing this earlier. Like they're willing to pay anything to like give legitimacy to their tour. And, you know, by signing these younger guys, they're trying to get like the next wave of talent that will give them legitimacy as opposed to paying these guys, you know, billions of dollars to come play golf. So I don't think it's a bad strategy. I actually think it's kind of smart. I just don't know if like thing is like everyone here like tweets about viewership numbers because nobody watches it. They don't give two craps about viewership numbers. You know, they just want to be like a legitimate sport. Like you think the Saudis care how many like Europeans are watching their soccer games? I mean, not really. They want the best players in Saudi Arabia so they can have good teams and compete on like a regional and world scale at like club world championships and stuff like that. It's the same thing. They want to see their guys succeed in majors.
Yeah. And to answer this question right here, so say you're a college golfer, say you're the guy, or say you're Caleb Surratt. I don't think he won the Natty, but he won like the SEC title, right? This is a few years ago now. And so you either obviously the college pathway program has changed things a little bit, but you're a college golfer. You can go on the PGA Tour and for a year, you know, you'll have a year. If you're like one of the top, you'll have 1 year. And if you fail, you're fucked, like period. Like, and if Liv is like, here's $10 million, what are you taking? It's just like NIL. You know, are you gonna risk going pro rather than just taking the money? Like I don't know. And these guys don't have to. I feel like if I was in their position, I would go to Liv. Snyder, do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. If I was in their position at their age in life, get $10 million, set half of that aside, you're cooked for the rest of the life. I mean, you don't even have to do anything the rest of your life if you don't want to. I would easily take that money.
You know, I think it also depends where you come from. Like a lot of these college golfers, like, I mean, golf is such a gated sport that like a lot of these players probably have family money to the extent where, you know, it's not like an NFL player, like where, you need to go out and make money for your family. It's kind of the opposite. It's like, oh, we have money if like this doesn't work out for you. Like we have a job for you if this doesn't work out for you on like the PGA Tour. So, you know, if I had some sort of backstop like that, I would go to the PGA Tour. If I didn't, I'd go to Liv.
Yeah. All right, we'll get into the tournament. A lot of crazy shit going on, you know, and Brooks Koepka being back, so it's a big topic in the golf world right now. But to get to the Farmers, you know, obviously this is one of those tournaments where it's on two courses. One is significantly easier than the other. I know Wiley spoke about this at length that, you know, 6 out of the last 7 winners started on the north, but then if you go back 5 in a row before that started on the south. You know, there's something to be said for starting on one course and then playing the other course 3 times in a row, or, you know, starting on one course and it's easier so you can kind of get up the standings and get your confidence up. Snyder, do you think that really matters?
I would put us slightly into the North Course just because it would be better just to get out there, you know, post a good score the first day, not have to worry about sweating on day 2 as much. Like last year, it came down to pretty big weather advantage too. I played the North Course more last year just based off I knew the weather was going to be terrible. the second day, so I wanted to try and get a score that first day and then just take whatever was given on the tougher course and the tougher conditions. But normally I think it's, especially for Showdown. I mean, if you're playing Showdown and not playing the North Course, that's one of the bigger edges we'll have this year. But I would lean slightly to the North Course starting out.
Bryce?
I don't really give it any credence. I think Snyder's weather angle is pretty much the only time I do it, and I don't really see any weather this week, so it's not really something that I'm paying attention to. I mean, obviously, you need to come out and shoot a good score in the North to like really be in contention. Like, you don't need to go like 10 under like you did at the Amex last week, but you need a playable score. And especially for DraftKings scoring, like there's just not much DraftKings scoring on the South. So, you really need your players to take advantage of, potential streaks, eagles, just DraftKings point score well. So, it's kind of the only way to get a floor, I guess, that's not finishing position, because, Torrey is so much finishing position.
All right. Well, let's get into the players here. We'll start with the 9K and up range. Shoffley down to Goddard up, Mitch. I like living in this range this week. I don't know if you agree with that. How do you feel about some of these guys? How do you feel about Xander only being 10-5?
That's kind of the thing that's kind of holding me back from just fully jamming some of these lower guys. Like Goddard's definitely my favorite play of the slate. I've been playing him the last 6-8 months or so. I'd see no reason to stop. His game's going to set up perfect for this place, I think. Coming off that win at the Sony, it was top 25 here last year. So I really think, and his putting has really increased coming. He used to struggle with putting early in his career, and he's got that kind of dialed in much, much better. So really like Goddard up. He's probably my favorite play in this range, but seeing Xander and seeing his ownership, I'll probably just try and field him or be around the field. I expect him to be somewhere 25 to 30 potentially in some contests, but probably be right around there with him. And then Ludwig's the other guy. He always seems to be sick around this time. Withdrew from the last event.
Aren't we all?
But yeah. But last year he was the first round leader here, then got sick and finished 50th or something. But won the preceding event here that was only played at the South Course. Ludwig's got the perfect game for this course too. He's just going to mash it off the tee. He can get around. I mean, that rough is going to be thicker here, but that's not too big of a challenge for him. So I haven't really ran anything yet, but it would probably be Xander, Ludwig up top, lighter on Cantlay. Cameron Young's just been playing phenomenal golf throughout the fall, and then had that top 10 at the Hero. He's another one of those guys who's just going to bomb it off the tee. I think this is just a super good range. So I'd probably be on Cameron Young, selling Jason Day, selling Siwoo, selling JJ Spawn, buying Hideki, and buying Goddard up. I'll be under on Harris English. I know he won it last year, but that was more of like, I think he won it at -8 with the tougher weather. I expect it to be more closer to -14, -15 this year for that winner. So I think he's overpriced there. Number one for me would be Goddard up. And then a little Xander, Ludwig, Hideki mixed in there, within some Cameron Young at the end, probably my lowest exposure up here.
Bryce.
Going down to 9K, looking at my leverage scores here on Sabre. Hideki's my highest. If these ownership projections are right, I think he's a pretty strong play. I think his game fits any course well, but, I'm willing to take like a 1K discount, start teams with Hideki and like a Goddard up pairing. I think he's super strong. I agree with Snyder 100% on Goddard up. Really think his game is, at an elite level this year, and he should be priced up here. He's going off at what? And on Penny right now, he is 28-1, better than, a lot of guys up here. I think he's a great value at 9K. I'm hoping he doesn't get steamed too much. I have him around 25% as well. Xander's my highest owned golfer this week. I don't really think you can debate like a better floor and upside combo than Xander here. The only hole you can really poke in it is like he's 14-1 to win. It's not like he's like 8-1 to win or like something like wild like that. But he's also priced to where he doesn't have to win. Like Xander could easily finish top 10 in your lineup and it'd be totally fine. So I'm around 35% on Xander. I'm expecting that to be slightly over the field. I just think he's kind of an easy click this week. So, I think if anything, ownership projections might be a little too low on him. I didn't really X anyone out here. I think all of these players have win equity. Ludwig's game should fit this course perfectly. I think he just didn't really want to play the Amex last week. And, you get a lot of guys with sponsorship stuff and pro-ams and 6-hour rounds and gimmicky courses like that just don't really care. I think he's hopefully not going to withdraw. Like he was leading last year and then got sick. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's feeling fine. I'm not going nuts on him or anything. I got around 15%. So that might be under actually, probably around the field there. Cantlay, I'm okay with him. I prefer Cameron Young to him slightly. I'll take an ownership discount here with Cameron Young. People love playing Cantlay on the West Coast, and I get that, but he doesn't really pop off the page for me. Jason Day is a guy you could see like getting like industry steamed here, I think, just because of like the whole Torrey Pines and like he has good course history and he played really well last week. So I don't mind that. 9,600. JJ Spawn, I think could get lost in the shuffle a bit here. I think he's a decent like leverage play. I don't think he comes in hardly at any ownership. The guys I really don't want in this range are Keegan and Harris. I'm pretty low on them. Like they're still in my pool, but 20 max type of stuff, I would just click off those guys. Those are kind of the two here that are significantly worse plays than everyone else, I think.
I'll just go ahead and cut in and answer this question real quick. I agree McNeely is the one and done play here for me.
I like Mav a lot. We'll get to him in this next range here.
Yeah, I just wanted to sneak in. Like I in one and done, I'm playing McNeely. But as far as this range, my top play, as Bryce alluded to, Hideki Matsuyama 9,300, I think is by far the best play in this range. I like him significantly more than the two of them do. I put him head and shoulders above the rest. So 9,300 Hideki Matsuyama is where I would start my teams. Second, Chris Gotterup, 9K. Both of them liked him. I love him too. Obviously, coming off the win at the Sony, he's on fire the last however fucking long. Like he just seems to have made a step forward with his career. After that, I think you have to mix in Xander. There's too much risk in not doing it. I would play him 30% of your lineups at least. Too high of a floor, too high of a ceiling. After that, it would be Siwoo Kim at 9,500. I know that Snyder alluded to not liking him. He played well last week. I think the upside is substantial. I have him a ton in MME. So I love Siwoo at 9,500. Auberg would be next at 10,400. Obviously has played well here. And he's just it's hard to rationalize playing him over Xander when you have the salary because he's only 100 cheaper. So I think he may get cut as far as like his ownership because people are like, oh, I have 100 more. Let me just play Xander instead. So that would be the main advantage to playing him. The rest of them, I would rank Cameron Young next, and then Spawn, and then Cantlay, and then the two that suck, as Bryce said, are Keegan Bradley and Harris English. So I would not play them. What we got here? Is single entry, is it more important to just focus on getting six? I wouldn't worry about ownership at all.
Yeah, single entry stuff. I mean, in any tournament, you need a 6 out of 6. Here, it's less important just because, you're guaranteed a round on the North course. So, you're playing Saturday and Sunday on the South. It'll just be more in finishing position. Like you won't see a 5 out of 6 win like the big MME, but you could easily see a 5 out of 6 win like 100-person tournament. Like I've seen a 5 out of 6 win the 3K plenty of times at tough courses like this where, if conditions do play tough, you could see the winning score in like the low teens, like high single digits type of deal. There's not tons of courses like that on the PGA Tour. So I think this week, like it's obviously you want 6 out of 6, but this week I would focus on finishing position a little bit more than made cuts.
All right, let's go into the next range. Let's go from Mav at 89 down to 75, Nikolai Højgaard. So that 75 to 89 range. Bryce, we'll start with you this time. There's a lot of good value in here, and I know I had some trouble differentiating between a lot of them. Who's your favorite in this range, and how do you kind of rank the guys?
So I'll just do quick tidbits here. I think Mav's a great play. Even at projected 18% ownership, I'm going to be slightly over the field here. At low 20s, Zalatoris, I'm pretty much hitting the field, like 5 to 10% type of deal. I think courses like this where, more people are going to be missing short putts kind of helps him with his deal. Don't mind him. I know Big T's all over him this week, I think. Taylor Pendrith, I think, is a solid play, but and Wyndham Clark. I'm hoping that Ryan Gerard's squeezed in between them kind of lowers his ownership a bit, because I love Gerard here. I think he's extremely strong. And, kind of like Goddard, I'm willing to take a chance that he's like really taking a step forward in his game. And, I've been taking stance on these guys earlier in the season like that. Alex Noren, Max Homa, two of my least favorite plays. I'd be totally fine not playing them. Jake Knapp, I think, is a very solid play here at 8,200. I do prefer him to Adam Scott. And then we get to the aforementioned Brooks Koepka. I'm seeing him. Sabre has him for 3% projected ownership. I can't imagine that he's that low. I'm going to be about 15% Brooks. So, if he comes in at 3%, I think he's an absolute slam dunk play. Don't really care if he's like a little bit rusty. 8K Brooks Koepka.
He has to have been playing this course ever since they announced that he's playing, right?
Yeah, I mean, 8K Brooks Koepka is, a 15 to 20% play for me. So if ownership does come in that low, great. If it doesn't, whatever. I don't think I'll be below the field on Brooks this week. I think he's an extremely strong play. Getting down into the high 7K range here. And I will say, just for roster construction, this range is so much easier to play than it was last week. Like, I know we said last week, like the 8Ks were so weak because Scotty was like so expensive that it made like kind of the 9 to 10Ks a little bit like underpriced, because you got a discount on like a lot of good golfers because Scotty was there. There's no Scotty this week, so I think the 8Ks are a little stronger, and I'm playing a lot more of that range. 7K guys that I like here. Sam Stevens, I think, is extremely, extremely strong. Another guy I'm willing to buy early on in the season, thinking that he's taken a step forward. I think his game fits the course pretty well. Aaron Rai at 7.7, I think is a very solid fade. He's not really a Torrey Pines. I think if I could design a golf course that Aaron Rai wouldn't compete well at, it would be Torrey Pines. He's just the type of golfer I'm looking to fade this week. We're going to be talking about this guy a lot. Is it Penge?
Penge.
It's Penge, right? Yeah. I think that Penge is like a really strong golfer and is going to make a pretty big impact on tour. I'm not sure if this is the week that he will.
I've already won 100K off Penge twice.
Yeah, Penge is really good, and I kind of like him. I think he's like a way cooler Max Homa, and he kind of looks like Homa. I've Penge high teens here. I think he's a pretty strong play. Thor Jorgensen is a guy I'm pretty much always over on. If you're buying into the bomber narrative here, like you really want guys that are good off the tee. I think Higo is a pretty strong play as well. And then guys I don't like, Denny. I like Denny in putting contests. I don't like him on these weird POA greens. I think Hogard and Rose are solid plays. Rose continues to go overlooked, and he's quietly playing great golf for the last couple of years. So I'm willing to buy on Justin Rose here at 7.5.
Mitch, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this range is loaded, and I want to try and get as much of this into the majority of my teams as I can. I even like starting teams with like Goddard. You can go Goddard, Mav, and just jam like 4 or 5 of these guys in and go one spend down. I like teams. I think there's a lot of win equity in those type of teams and placement points for that as well. But starting up top, Mav, it looks like a great option. He's played these West Coast courses many a times. Good long iron player, so I like him there. Big Z, if Bill Z, Zalatoris is fully back and fully healthy, he looked pretty good last week. He shot 5 under total on his 2 rounds on the tougher course last week. But these have been the type of courses I used to love to play as Zalatoris had. These big boy long courses. He's super long off the tee. He has a great long iron play. When he was healthy, he finished T7 second and T13 at this event back 2024, 2022, and 2021, I think, were the years he finished that placement points. Taylor Pendrith missed the cut in his last event, but I think he can kind of throw that away. He's got back-to-back top 10 finishes at this course. This game just sets up so well for this place too. Another great long iron player. So I think Pendrith is a good play. Our guy Gerard, we've been on him every week the last few weeks. 3 runner-ups in a row, so a win has got to be close. He's going to break out here soon. Just such an elite talent. He can get it off the tee. He's going to hit a lot of fairways, a lot of greens. It just comes down to the putter with him. If he can get the putter to fall, I think he'll be right up there again this week. And then Wyndham Clark is one of my favorite guys in this range as well. I just like all these guys. I mean, Clark went from 48-1 down to 39-1 at Penny. So he's getting some good action on him. Another guy that's just long off the tee, good long iron player. Looked good at the MX last week with a T13. He was T8 at the Hero as well before that. So I think Wyndham's a good option here. I'd probably be under on Norin. I know Max Homa looks to be playing better, has a win at this course in 23, so I'll probably sprinkle him into the pool, but nothing I'll get super overweight on. Jake Knapp is another one of those bombers that looks good here. It was T3 and T32 his last 2 trips. Looks to be back in a good mindset with everything that's happened to him recently. T11 at the Sony, so he's a guy I want to be on. And then one of my favorite golfers, the old favorite golfers, is back in Koepka, like you guys alluded to. The markets are moving his way, too. He opened right around 56-1, and he's down to 44-1 at Penny. He's one of those guys. I mean, you played Brooks at these big boy courses. He lives for these big events. And next week, he's going to be in the field next week where he got his first career win and then had another win at that event. So he'll be going against Scotty there. He kind of alluded to coming back kind of to go head-to-head with Scotty. He's talked about how he's kind of the guy on top of the hill right now, and he's kind of coming for him. So I'm excited to see what Brooks has. I bet him top 42. He was plus 110 to T40, so that was one of the bets I made. Rasmus is fine. I don't trust him. I think he's a little more volatile than some of these guys, but it's definitely a guy you should have in your 150 pool. McCarty, just another one of those guys we've been on. T2 last week at the Amex was really strong for us down in the fall swing too. So McCarty is a guy I'm going to keep playing. No reason to get off him now. He's gaining 1.3 strokes per round total. So pretty much a complete game for McCarty. Sam Stevens, like Bryce said, was another guy that moved pretty heavy in the betting markets. He's down to 46-1 at 7,800. So I think he's an extremely strong play as well. Marco Pinch is actually ranked 30th in the world golf rankings. Not many people probably know that, but he's had a couple of wins overseas in the last 6 months. He's a complete bomber.
Always behind Patrick Reed.
Yeah. Complete bomber off the tee, though. I think he's a good play. I think Garrett Higo should be in the pool. Another bomber. Thor Bornson. I just think this range is just completely loaded, going down to Nikolai Hogard there, who finished runner-up at this event a couple years back and looks to be in good form coming in. This is his first event from overseas. He's been pretty much top 15ing every event overseas for the last month or two, so he's coming in good form as well.
I'm going to start with this because I think it's the most important point in this range, at least from my perspective. I do not like Marco Pinch this week, and I feel like everybody's playing him, and I really don't like it. And somebody mentioned this, and I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I am not in on Marco Pinch. I think
that's the PXG club, so worst clubs you can go to.
I do not like it. I do not like Marco Pinch, so I would not play Marco Pinch. My favorite play in this range is.
Are we cutting Pinch? I don't need to take a flag stand. I'm not flag planning Marco Pinch. I just like his long-term talent.
In this range, my favorite play is Sam Stevens, 7,800. I think he's the best cost per dollar on the board. I think if you're creating a cash team, first click has got to be Sam Stevens. After that, Mav McNeely up at 8,900. Love Mav. He should be priced 500 or 600 more. They should have inverted his and Keegan's price at least.
Yeah.
So do like Maverick McNeely. Ryan Gerard, and as you said, he's been absolutely smashing recently. So I do love Gerard at 8,600. After that, it's getting a little more dicey. Thorbjornsen at 7,600, I think will be lower owned, and I do like his upside. As far as the top end range, if you're asking me to rank them, I would go Wyndham Clark, then Pendrith, then Zalatoris, and then Jake Knapp if I had to. And to talk about Brooks, obviously Brooks has infinite upside, and if he's really been working at it, which I think he probably has leading up to this, there's a chance Brooks just smashes. So I think that you don't want to be left on the outside looking in if Brooks smashes. So
there's one more thing I was going to say about Brooks I forgot. I think it was kind of indicative that he was going to leave before he left because he started kind of ramping up his game at the end of the year, played 4 DP World Tour events, which he rarely would ever do. Had a couple of poor finishes there and then went bing bang, had like a T7 and a T4, I think, in his last 2 DP World Tour events towards the end of the year last year.
He's probably been playing Tory every day for the last month. Okay. We'll go the lower 7Ks. We'll go 74 down to 7. So the rest of the range. Snyder, we'll start with you here. What do you kind of like in this lower mid range? To me, there's one play that's kind of significantly better than the rest, but I want to know how you feel about it.
Yeah, there's a few guys, not as much as the top, but I think one of my favorite plays in this range is going to be near the top. Pearson Kude, he was a soldier. We played him last week. It was back-to-back top 20s for him. I think the game is really trending really well for him. It just comes down to the putter for him. If he can putt to a 0, the way he's hitting his irons and off the tee, he's gaining almost 2 strokes tee to green last 36 rounds he's played. So his game is complete right now. The markets are moving his way a little bit, so I like him up top. I think Gala's getting some good movement his way, 73 down to 64 to 1 for him. I think he's a good play there. I do like going right back to Christopher Retan. I don't think anyone's going to play him this week. Kind of burned a lot of people there at Sony, which is a completely different type of course. And he was just coming off of his last win on the Euro Tour before he played that Sony Open. I'm going to go back to Retan. I mean, he just absolutely nukes it. He's going to be probably the longest off the tee of anyone in this field. I've got him averaging just under 350 off the tee in his last 36 rounds per round. So he doesn't find many fairways, but he's going to get it out there a long way. So I like Retan as a cheap guy. I don't think anyone's going to really go to him. Rico Hui, probably not going to get to him. Theoborn Olsen has just been crushing it overseas. It can translate, as we've seen during the fall swing. He had a couple good finishes there, a couple of T15s during the fall swing. Andrew Novak's had his odds move pretty good. The biggest mover in the odds-wise is Alex Smalley at 7,100. He's went from 99 to 1 all the way down to 71 on Penny. So I think he's a pretty good play there. You look at his recent form, there's really not that much there. Just he's basically finishing in the top 40 but 7,100. He hits about 315 off the tee. It's just come down to the short game with him like everyone. Eric Cole was good for us last week. I don't know if I'll go back to him though. I think that's about. Lee Hodges had a T9 here last year, missed the cut last week, but had a couple of solid finishes before there. Was T6 at the Sony. I think that's about it for me down here. SH Kim was good last week. T20, T18 last week, and a T13 at the Sony. He hits it off the tee well as well, and he's a really good putter. So if he get into that, he's gaining just over a stroke per round putting last 36. SH Kim at 7K is a guy we probably should go back to. And then Johnny Kiefer is just the guy. I just love his talent down here at 7K flat. I'm going to be playing some Johnny Kiefer again. He was T27 last week. Didn't kill you, but he hits it 322 off the tee. If he can get the short game going, I think Johnny can be a solid value for that price tag.
Bryce?
I'll just preface this saying I really do prefer like the higher 7K range to like the lower 7K range. I just think it's like a way stronger place to be in terms of the quality of golfer that you're getting, and like without like anyone to really pay up for. I mean, other than Sander, I'm not dipping down tons, but there are some guys I like down here that I want to highlight for you guys. I like Pearson Coody. Love the shout from Snyder here. I'm going to have a decent amount of him. I saw a question about Akshay. I project to be well over on him. I like him pretty much every week. I just think he has a ton of upside to his game. Seabass. I don't really like Seabass this week. Torrey's not really a place that I want to play him. I think I had 2 out of 150 teams of Seabass. Thorbjorn Olsen, I think, is a solid play here. I have him around 10%. Andrew Novak, I think, is pretty interesting. Willing to buy on him here. Hao Tong Lee seems like the highest variance golfer on the planet, but that's totally fine with me in tournaments. No one really clicks his name, and I should be around 8% on him. Patrick Rogers is a pretty strong play in my opinion here. I mean, just kind of looking at his odds. I mean, they're good. I don't love playing, like, if Patrick Rogers comes in as Choctaw, I'll probably be a little under. I'm around 15% on him. Davis Thompson, another guy that I like a good amount here. Hoping he doesn't come in over 10% because I would like to be over on him. I'm around 15 on him there. Alex Smalley, Snyder highlighted it as like one of the bigger odds movers this week. I'm hoping his ownership stays sub 5%. That would be super nice. I'm around 10 to 15% on him. Other guys I like down here, Brennan, Kiefer, and SH Kim kind of round out the 7Ks for me. And then I'm not playing many guys below, but we can get to those in the next segment.
All right, so the aforementioned play that I thought was the best play in this range is Akshay Bhatia at 7,400. I think this course fits in very well. So I love Akshay at 74. After him, my man Sahith Theegala at 74 as well, I think is another amazing play in this range. After him, Snyder mentioned Pearson Coody. His odds have been cratering. He's been crushing. He crushes it off the tee. It's just a matter of putting to a zero, which, hopefully he can. After him, Patrick Rogers from this area of the country at 7,200. His odds keep coming down, so I do love him in this range. Alex Smalley, gone from 100 to 1 down to 70 to 1. So 7,100 for that price is pretty ridiculous. And finishing up in this range, Bryce spoke about the bottom of the range being poor, and that is mostly true. I do love Michael Brennan and John Kiefer down there. I think they can bomb it and get there from the bottom of this range, despite most of it being dog shit. We'll get into the dregs here. So the 6Ks, Bryce.
What's your thoughts on Tony Finau? I just seen he was in the field.
Oh God, dude. getting sued for all his money and got 10 kids. Fuck.
I've always liked Tony, but
I like him, but shit, his life is
it's not a time to play Tony. I'm not risking my own money on Tony. I hope he does well for his own sake.
I hope well in his life, but I am not risking my money.
No, I'm not risking my money on him. 6K range here. I can start it off just because I'm not playing a lot of the 6K range because, I don't think there's a lot to really have to jam in. Guys, I do like, there are 3. I'll let you guess them.
Potgieter.
Yeah, Potgieter's like the nut play down here.
Castillo.
He's way too cheap.
Castillo,
Castillo's the second one. I have him like 10 to 12%. I think he's very strong. And then for the brand, I had to play some Sammy Valimaki. I feel like he's just like an RPS guy. Wiley recommends him every single week. And I think his game fits this course really well. So I'll be mixing him in as well. There are some other guys that you can hit down here, but I don't really think that anyone stands out besides Potgieter. I don't think that he comes in like crazy chalky. I think he kind of will be in like higher stakes where people are like paying attention, but I think a lot of like casuals won't even notice that he's like $1,000 too cheap.
Snyder?
Yeah, I'm basically right there with you. I think Potgieter is one of the best plays on the board. His odds have dropped about 50 points in the last day. Castillo is about right there too. His points have dropped to about 20, 21 points in the last day or so. Another guy I like in this range at 6,900 is Chris Ventura. He's just a guy that can get hot with the putter. He's good off the tee, can nuke it. I think he's a fine option at 6,900. Has pretty good recent form besides the miscut last week. But before then, he was pretty much T35 or better in a bunch of those events throughout the fall. And then last year, he was here, a T4 here last year. So I think Ventura is another guy I want to play in this 6K range. But there's not much here. I really want to try and end my builds in the 7Ks if possible. But I'll let some of these guys kind of sneak through the cracks. Like Ricky Castillo, he was top 15 here last year. I think he's fine. The big rig, Potgieter, like you were saying. Valimaki was T15 here last year. I think he's a good one to have in there. I think that was about it for me on the odds movements. Where is – I don't know where he went. There's another guy down here. I was getting – David Ford. He was T13 last week, gained almost 4 strokes approach. I think he's fine at 6,700 as well.
Yeah, 130 to 1. That's not bad.
Yeah, I would lead in this range with Ricky Castillo. As both of them alluded to, I think he's the best play on here. Next, Potgieter, 6,500. Obviously for any course where you need tee distance, he's going to be right there. Bo Hostler, 6,900. Neither of them mentioned him. I think he's very, very playable. Valimaki. And then my last play in this range would be Christopher Ventura at 6,900, which I believe Snyder also alluded to. And then we'll get into everybody's favorite, which is the Pick Six, presented by DraftKings.
The guy that screwed us last week was none other than Michael Block.
Missed it on the number.
Yeah.
Michael Block.
I took his over. He was playing the hard course, and he goes like birdie finish to screw the Pick Six.
That was brutal. I was sweating that.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, he was like 5 or 6 over at one point, I think, and then like played a great like 3 holes of golf. Right. He came out and he dunked like 2 in the water on. It's still hard to dunk them, even on the stadium course. But that was super annoying. That might have been too cute of a pick, but I think we ran pretty bad. I think we ran pretty bad on it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start here. I'm going more than
70.
Some
questions in chat if you have them. We'll answer them after this.
I'm going more than 71.5 on Marco Penge on South.
I don't mind that. I need to pull up. I keep forgetting the Pick Six is always around 1 sweat. Can we
Snyder,
go
you got
over?
anything while
Is
he's
Finau
looking?
on the south? Can we go over Finau? I think that
Finau.
dude's. I think he's completely broken. Yeah, he's playing south.
No, we only got the birdies and pars.
I thought I saw his name here. Let me pull it up myself.
Where's Brooks at? He's on the south.
That was too late.
Brooks is on south.
I thought they'd usually started like Xander and the big guns
all
on
the big names are playing south.
Yeah.
To start. So
yeah, I'm gonna start. Look, I'll just go with 2. I'm going under on Brooks.
That's
Y'all
where I
can
was
figure your
leading.
own shit out.
yeah.
Where's Goddard?
Just look at some of this.
I might go Goddard up more than 4.5 birdies.
I like that.
Bryce is just taking 10 years to pick something.
Johnny Vegas over 71.5.
All right.
The only thing they have for Hideki is over 4.5 birdies as well.
Right, because of the North Course.
Yeah. I'll take him over 4.5 birdies.
And give me Davis Thompson under 69.5.
All right. So we got what? It's only 9-6. Whatever. Marco Penge over 71.5 strokes. Brooks Koepka under 72.5 strokes. Chris Gotterup over 4.5 birdies or better. Johnny Vegas over 71.5 strokes. Hideki Matsuyama at least 5 birdies. Davis Thompson under 69.5 strokes. $100 wins at least 9.6 to 1. Any final thoughts?
We'll have everything up on site. The showdown will be up every round to the playbook and core plays for the showdown. All 4 rounds this week. Make sure you play the North Course the first 2 rounds. We'll have all that loaded, and we'll be in Discord as well.
Yeah, great showdown edge here. I know Snyder is all over that. To answer these final questions, Snedeker, not playing him. I didn't even know if he was in the field. Just completely clicked off. My favorite plays here. Tor Jorgensen is my favorite play at 76. I like Cootie and I like Akshay. I think he falls into that range. Lord, I'm not an Apex height guy. Can't tell all the secrets, but one, I'm assuming this is tip, switching from single entry to 150 for golf. I just make sure your teams
don't get too
out.
narrow. Don't get too narrow.
Mark and I go to say the exact same thing. Whether you're using Sims, whether you're using Uniques, however you like to build. I know Saber has the Portfolio Plus tool. You don't want to be playing the same iteration of like the same team 150 times or like even like 10 times. You want your pool to be spread out and your players to be mixed in well. I don't know why everyone's all over this Yellow Mararju dude. I know we had questions about him last week. Didn't even know he was in the field this week. I'm not playing him.
No.
Yeah, I don't think this is a week to like get super cute with the Megamind plays. I think like if you want to do that, just play when Scotty plays, because then you can choose all these crazy golfers that are like 6K to fit them. Scotty's not in the field this week. I don't think there's any need to test the balance of the salary realms by playing tons of 6K guys.
All right. For Snyder, for Bryce, we're out.